I think you come to the Belgian to win it. Wabash always fight.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, the bad news, obviously, Wabash is coming off of a 44-41 loss on Saturday to the College of Wooster. The good news is this is a Wabash team that still controls its destiny, still has all of its goals in front of it that can be accomplished. As we get ready to look at some highlights from the game, and there were a lot of highlights, good offensive performance. What was your assessment of the game after you had a chance to look at the film and from your thoughts on the sideline?
Sure. Well, we made some critical mistakes in every phase of the game, including offense, and we've got to correct. Another kickoff return for a touchdown. You're not going to win a championship giving up kickoff returns for touchdowns. Obviously, we have some issues on defense we need to fix. We dropped 2 touchdown passes, and that's how really good teams lose games. And I pointed out to our team, Alabama has lost a game this year. I think they're still going to win a national championship. It's hard to go undefeated, but if there ever was a wake-up call for our football team, we got it last Saturday. And you got to credit Wooster. They have a fantastic quarterback who I thought we had him dead 6 different times, and he pulled it out. So you got to give them some credit too.
We mentioned the positives. You set a high water mark with 670 yards gained. You averaged 6.6 yards per play, 102 plays, 670 yards overall. You ran the ball for 391 yards. Donovan Snyder with a 220-yard afternoon. Cade Campbell had his first 100-yard rushing game, 104 yards with 1 touchdown. Liam had 60 rushing yards, with 1 TD, and he threw for 279 yards as well. So you had some solid offensive performances. And I think we'd be remiss if we also didn't mention Jacob Handley hit a 41-yard field goal into the wind that kept that game close, and then had the 39-yarder at the end of the half and was perfect on his extra points. We did have the missed field goal late in the game. But there were some positive performances, and there were some good things to take away from the game as you get ready to play Ohio Wesleyan this week.
There absolutely are, and I think we learned a lot in shipping when the Titanic sank too. But we've got to fix some things to be a great football team, and that is our plan.
What was the mood of the players Monday coming into practice? I mean, you always hear coaches talk about you have 24 hours to celebrate after a win, and you've got 24 hours to think about a loss, but then you're turning right back around and getting ready for the next opponent, and you can't have that hangover from a loss weighing over the team. What was their attitude Monday?
We do a great job here with football and in the classroom when a kid gets an F and failing. And we failed Saturday. And I failed, as coaches and players, we all failed together. We don't blame. We don't point fingers at anybody. But I think we rinsed that out of our body maybe Sunday at practice. And then we've had, obviously today's Wednesday, we've had 2 really good practices. I'm planning on having another today and tomorrow, then getting on a bus and playing a great game Saturday.
We talk about Saturday's game again. Last Saturday, it was a 44-41 loss to the College of Wooster. First loss for the Little Giants this season. First home loss since 2017. But the good news is, again, you're right back at it this Saturday, but you're at it against a very tough opponent, an Ohio Wesleyan football team that likes to generate turnovers. They've forced 20 turnovers this year, both interceptions and fumbles. I believe 20 total for the year. They're +8 in the turnover margin, and they've also got a very solid defense overall. I believe they're 8th in the nation in sacks. The one area they seem to be a little vulnerable, statistically anyway, is in the passing game. How do you approach Ohio Wesleyan with what you've seen on tape preparing for them?
Ohio Wesleyan has been a nemesis for us since I got here in 2012. They have always been a good football team, really good on defense, super aggressive, heavy blitz, and they don't just get turnovers, they actively create them, and that's part of their plan, and they're great at it. So we need to have a plan going into that game, not to turn it over for sure, not to give up any big plays on defense, and not to give up a kickoff return. We're going to start there. That's the genesis of the plan, and move forward.
Offensively, they've got a very speedy receiver who's also dangerous in the return game in Kenny Streb. And they've been using a mix of quarterbacks this year. They've gone with Zane Reese, the senior. We've also seen Austin Womack. We even saw a young man by the name of Caden Booza, who's thrown about 50 passes for them. We're expecting Reese to start. He played all of last week in their game against DePaul. Does that cause any issues defensively when you're not certain what the personnel might be, and then obviously a good speed threat like Kenny Streb?
Well, Streb's a threat just because he's so fast, and then Reese is a good quarterback. And also I'd say the quarterback play in our conference has gotten better and better and better over the last 5 years. And he's another really good quarterback we've got to face and get ready for.
You talked about where the starting points were. What are the three biggest keys? I mean, you talked about turnovers, you talked about special teams. What is one thing? Let's even narrow it down to one thing. If we looked at numbers after the game, what do you think will be the one thing that we would be able to tell whether Wabash came out with a win or loss, other than the final score?
Kickoff returns would be 1, turnovers will be 2.
That game will begin at 2 o'clock. It's in Delaware, Ohio. Wabash takes on Ohio Wesleyan. Again, Little Giants still have their entire rest of the season in front of them, with games remaining against Ohio Wesleyan. Wabash will then travel to Kenyon, then closing out home games with Wittenberg and DePaul. Do want to remind you, those final 2 games, tickets are on sale. You do want to get your Monon Bell tickets now. They are going very, very quickly. Most, if not all, of the tailgate and parking spaces have sold out. You can go online at wabashtickets.com and check there for more information. But make certain you get your Monon Bell game tickets online before you arrive. There is not a guarantee that there will be any tickets left if that game sells out. Keep an eye on the Wabash website for more information. And again, wabashtickets.com to get your tickets in advance. Coach, best of luck on Saturday. I'll be traveling with you. I'll have the game on the radio on 91.3 FM, WNDY, beginning at about 1:45 with this show. And then we'll have the live kickoff at 2 o'clock. Coach, best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. We'll talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgian to win it. Wabash always fight.